you feeling about this, your first playoff win?
Well, it was a great win as a team. Great for this organization, great for these players, coaches, especially the fans. We've been through so much. We said last time we got a playoff win was in 2005 or whatnot, but it was just great to have so many people hands in, for a common goal to get this job done today. But we can't be satisfied. We still have a long way to go, and we're anticipating, us traveling and getting another big win next week.
How would you assess your first playoff win? Your performance?
Say it again.
How would you assess your first playoff performance win?
We got to win. That's most important.
And what's your overall feeling right now? Celebration, relief, anticipation of your next game?
We celebrate this, tonight. We got to get back on our business tomorrow. See who we play. The truth of the matter, we got to be ready to go. There's a lot of guys that feel the same way I feel. This one was great, for a lot of reasons, but yet, we didn't come here just to end it tonight. We have to have a great week of practice and, get prepared for our next opponent. Some things that we did great tonight, but yet, some things that we didn't do great. We flashed, and, the things that we didn't do great, we got to come back and, get coached up and ready to go.
Even at halftime, did you guys feel like even though you were down, you didn't turn the ball over, you could still control this game?
Absolutely. When we look back at the game, we feel like we put those guys in better situations than they even expected. With the turnovers, the fumble, the interception on my part, even in the fumble later on in the game, those things can't happen, especially in playoff football, and we can't expect to win, when we have, 3+ turnovers.
What needs the most attention before you go to Seattle on offense?
Say what?
What needs the most attention on offense before you go to Seattle?
Just playing more thorough. Some things that offensively, we know what we can do. It just takes a little bit of focus, a little bit more execution, and we'll be ready to go.
What do you think about that defensive performance?
Well, that's lights out, man. And when those guys play like that, it makes it easier on us, on our part. Those guys did everything. They got turnovers. They stopped them. I think it was under 75 or 97 yards. Whatever the stat was, that's playoff football. That's championship football right there. And we got to do our part offensively, to put points up on the board.
Cam, how did this feel different from last January? In other words, did the game, were you able to slow it down more? Just how that experience helped you?
I don't think anything was different. I think it was, guys that was playing for each other. Not saying that, this game was any different than last year's game, because we had a lot of characteristics of both teams. But yeah, trying to turn the page and focus on this year. We have an opportunity to keep going. It's something that a lot of teams can't say they can do right now. And we just have to have a great week of practice, a great week of preparation, and our effort has to be impeccable come next week.
Cam, can you speak about the importance of the running game and how it's helping the offense and how that?
Well, Stewart is a big asset to this team, and he's bumping right now. To get D'Angelo back, get Tolbert healthy and making plays like he did today, it's very crucial. It's just another asset that the defense has to go over. When Greg is out there, he's a big contributor. With Ed as well, the moment is never too big for him to make a play. We just have to hone in and come back. Like I said, I keep saying the same thing, but it's going to be very pivotal for us to do. Have a great week of practice and make the changes, the proper changes, that we didn't do correctly, today.
Well, all the critics on the national level have been saying, hey, losing record, they don't belong. How satisfying is it to win and advance?
And that's what it's all about. Our big thing was just to get in through hell or high water. We just wanted to find a way to, get into the playoffs and see what else happens after that. It's a lot of guys that's thankful for the opportunity, and we weren't going to take it for granted today. We started out fast, on both sides of the ball, as well as the special teams, but it kind of fizzled out in the mid part, but that fizzle can't happen if we expect to do great things that we want to do.
Cam, a lot of teams that go through a 6-game losing streak, they're done. The season's over. What kept you guys together and
to allow you to have that opportunity?
It's no words, it's no, speech, it's no event that happened. We knew what we had to do, and that's to win football games. So I don't know how to really answer that question. It wasn't anything that was different about it. As an NFL player or as an NFL team, you have one job and one job to do, and that's to win football games. And when you do that, everything else will play out in itself.
With all the adversity the team went through, talk about how much fun you guys are having playing now.
Well, simply, winning is fun. Losing doesn't feel too good. So that's the main treat about it. When you win football games or you win games like this today, no matter what was done wrong, you find a way to win when the clock strikes 0. That's fun about it. And it was a good way for us to thank our fans for being there throughout this whole game, because the weather wasn't perfect or ideal, but yet those guys still stuck it out there and made a way for us. Kept us enthused, kept us with the momentum on our hand, and we really appreciate them for that.
What was the energy like in the stadium?
It was something that we've expected. I said constantly, we were past due for a victory, a playoff victory. And it was a tradition. I wasn't aware of it, but it was a tradition for the players to give thanks back and walk around the field to, tip our hat off to our fans. For us to get that energy, to get those great vibes on the field throughout the game, man, it was great. It was big time.
How do you guys approach tomorrow as far as, you guys getting the day off, watching tomorrow's games, studying the teams that you could be playing next week?
Well, we can't overwhelm ourselves with trying to study it too much, because we're only going to play one team. I think our big thing tomorrow is just trying to get the nicks and the bruises healthy and to get ready for a good week of preparation.
Cam, did you have any nicks and bruises? You came up one time looking a little ginger there.
Next question. But just to be fair, man, it was playoff football, man. And when my number is called, I don't want nobody to question where will I leave it out there on any given play. This is another notch for the season. It's no sliding on third down. It's no this, no that. I can't come to grips with myself at the end of the game saying I wish I would have did this or I wish I would have did that when I had the opportunity to do it. So it's kind of like a split-second decision when you just throw your body all over the place, and when you get a win like this, it's all worth it.
When Fozzie cut back across the grain, did you kind of wonder at first what he was doing?
Well, it's a lot of things that happened during the game, and I figured, what is he doing? From the coach's calls to, my throws at times. It's just, you got to see how it plays out. But Fozzie has been playing at a high level, for a long time. Not only, as a Panther, but even in college. So, sometimes you just got to sit back and admire the playmakers and let them make plays.
So what did happen on the interception?
See, those were the things that you just got to sit back and say, what in the world's going on? But yet, without finger pointing, without saying this and without saying that, it can't happen. It can't happen. Like I said, when you play playoff football, when you have 3+ turnovers, and never mind the other stats, you can't expect to win. We had an unbelievable performance by our defense today, which helped us, push the rock over the winning barrier. But, moving forward, we have to do a better job of protecting the football.
3 of the 4 teams that are left you've already played this year. Will that help you in your preparation if you get to play one of these teams the second time?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. It's something that you go back and you already kind of have that pop quiz that you can look over. But yet, we know that, the teacher isn't going to, ask the same questions. So we still have to study and be prepared for it.
With this being the probable final time you'll play here at Bank of America for this season, do you feel that you guys as a team, individually, that everything is done out there on that field?
I believe so. I believe so. When you win, that's the big thing, and that's the reason why you play this game. For us to give our appreciation back to the fans that was so faithful to us this year. I know it may not be pretty at times, but yet, we did the best that we could do, and I know they did the best that they could do as well. So we're still going to need a team effort, moving forward, and hopefully we can get a big win moving forward.
When you guys have run that play with Whitaker before, either in practice or in game, Does Bell usually get that far down?
Who knows? I don't know. It's never gets that far in practice, you know, because the whistle's probably already blown. But you know, like I say, you just got to sit back and you just got to admire and make playmakers play. You know, and in that situation, so many people were making plays down the field and doing their part. And when you see a successful play ran, one person just didn't make that happen. It was other guys. It was other 10 guys that went into it to make that play go.
Did you see Bell's block?
I did. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. And as you're watching him, you were thinking,
Touchdown Panthers. Thank you so much.